What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today, BCH USD. It is the second day of January. Sorry, February. It's February, second day of February. And with that, I'd like to say shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. It is the second day, and here we are, Bitcoin Cash at $540 yet again, doing what it's been doing, which is outperforming Bitcoin and the rest of the markets. Yes. Yes, it is. Now, I know from a high to a low, that's a bit of an extreme drop. 32%. Bitcoin didn't drop 32%, did it? Let's see. What did Bitcoin drop? Bitcoin from a high, relative high recently to a low recently dropped 23%. How can we say Bitcoin Cash is outperforming Bitcoin yet again? Because Bitcoin Cash right now, from its low in October, let's even go to its 21st of November low there, you're still up 20.7%. You're up 20.7% from the November low, while Bitcoin is down. It's at a deficit from that 21st of November low. So yes, you have dropped back more, but you had more to give. You're still outperforming. Others, we look at the average altcoin. The average altcoin is just below where they were in December, let alone where they were at the very end of November, that November 21st low. You're still down there. Bitcoin Cash is literally outperforming everything. And it's not even close. It's not even funny. And we look at this chart, and of course it's not even close. Bitcoin Cash is doing its own thing right now. It's in its own game, okay? We are consolidating here, right on the edge, right on the cusp of breaking out of this multi-cycle, lifelong wedge that you've been in. You're about to see this breakout happen. You don't have time to care about what Bitcoin's doing or what others is doing or whatever, because you're doing your own thing here, man. Bitcoin Cash is one of the few cryptos, there's a handful of them, that I genuinely believe has the capacity to perform well while the rest of the market is not performing well. And that's because of the narrative that it has going for it. That's because of what it is, right? It's kind of its own thing, right? Imagine there was a better Bitcoin, because that's what Bitcoin Cash is, right? It's not going to bow down whenever it's about to get its freak on. It's mature. It's been here for a long time. Its whole damn life it's been here, and it's ready to break out. You think you're going to be working on this guy's dime anymore? I don't think so. You're working on your own time, and that's why we see this difference of why Bitcoin Cash has literally outperformed and held up so much better than the rest of the market. You know what's kind of interesting? There's this thought that goes into my mind here that we are not the only people with eyeballs. We are not. Who do I mean by we? We, the Dragon Riders, the people invested in Bitcoin Cash. We are not the only people with eyeballs. Isn't it weird that the rest of the market, both altcoins and Bitcoin alike, are dropping, and yet Bitcoin Cash is just chilling, moving sideways? Like, one might draw the connection there that people are selling their other cryptos for Bitcoin Cash. That might be happening. That genuinely could be happening now. Imagine the story comes out. Imagine all your favorite crypto analysts, YouTubers, studios, whatever, news studios, media outlets. Imagine they all overnight or over a month, they start to come online with the idea that, is Bitcoin Cash better than Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin the same thing that was being said about Zcash, right? Whenever Zcash was pumping. Imagine Bitcoin Cash goes on a pump like that. Are those people going to start talking about it here? F no. Hell no. They're not going to start talking about it here. They're going to start talking about it after it breaks out. This thing is right on the cusp of breaking out. We're continuing to see strength. It's insane. It's intense. It's immense. Even with a 15% drop last month from open to close, we are largely outperforming the rest of the market. It's not even close. It's crazy. And we are really right on the brink of breaking out here. I want to look at the short-term stuff and then zoom back out. I remember my last video that I talked about Bitcoin Cash was here on Thursday. Wait, here on this day. I went to Texas. I came back late last night, and now we're here. So that's, we've dropped. Typically, whenever I go on vacation or if I travel at all, I wasn't on vacation. I was just traveling. Personal affairs, guys. We see the price drop typically, like almost always. It's actually been a thing. It's like the C-Zar curse. I'm leaving in May on that note. I'm going to leave in like the first half of May. I think it's the first half. Maybe it's like right around the middle of May. I'm going on vacation for about a week or so in I don't know, maybe like closer to 2 weeks in May. So there might be a drop there too. If anybody is paying attention, right? I swear, every time I go on vacation or anytime I leave the state that I'm in, we see a drop across the board. I don't know why that is. But most of the time when I go on vacation too, it is in that time frame of like May to July, right? Sell in May, go away. So it kind of makes sense actually. Anyways, $540. $540 now. Getting away from the vanity. We have dropped a lot. I would have not from here imagined that we'd ever get a chance to buy Bitcoin Cash below $400 or $500 again, but we did. We had an immense opportunity there. And again, Bitcoin Cash continues to outperform the rest of the markets because from its low point, it's up 15% right now. From the average altcoins low point, they're up about 5% right now. Wait, I'm sorry. No, that's not right. About 8% right now. Can barely see it, but that's... Hold on, let me just delete this. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. 8%. 8%. Bitcoin Cash is up double that from its low. Bitcoin is definitely not up that much, right? We're up like 3%, 4%, whatever. Very nice reaction here. A lot of volume on that daily low candle there, but a big wick as well. A lot of volume yesterday and a good bit of volume today too. Not an immense amount, but I mean 7 hours left. One would have to imagine we're going to see above average volume today as well. We look at the short-term stuff. We look at the 1 hour time frame here, and the RSI, in my opinion, looks very bullish. Rejected the overbought zone, rejected the oversold zone, a little bit volatile, but now you're getting into the overbought zone. You're spending most of your time above the 50, it seems. It's good. Stochastics are bullish. The MACD is crossing above the 0. It looks bullish here, guys. 4 hour time frame. Also, well, I guess the 4 hour actually looks kind of bearish, if we're being fair. You have some bullish stuff going on right now, but I guess overall you do look bearish. So we're not out of the woodworks yet. Just because we're bullish on Bitcoin Cash doesn't mean it's going to do this. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I know that on the last day that I was talking about Bitcoin Cash, we were talking about how the days below $600 are numbered. And with the move that took us below $500, that point might seem moot at this point. But the reality of the matter is that that statement is just as true as it was here as it is down here. Our days are numbered below $600. This is a blessing. It is a complete blessing. It's something that I think anybody and everybody should hope for if they're wanting to buy Bitcoin Cash as a massive, fantastic drop like this. This is an immense... I mean, the best price that you could have gotten a couple weeks ago is $563. Here you are, $30 below there. Phenomenal on a $500 asset. That's phenomenal prices, you guys. Let alone if you took it upon yourself to buy below $500 here. Again, on the 4 hour time frame at least, what I'm seeing is that we might configure a little bit. We might... This might not even be the low. In fact, let's actually see. Is it the low? Is it something that we can confidently count on as the low? From a low here to a high here. I like it. I do like it, actually, as a low. Let me tell you why I like it. We'll get back to the 4 hour time frame in a second. Typically, not always, but typically, you find support on the golden ratio on your first interaction. And if you want to go lower, you find resistance here. You come down, whatever. If you want to go higher, you just move up, whatever. You know, you do your thing. We did not find support on the golden ratio on the first interaction. No, instead we broke through it. And in moments like this, which are not typical, it's not typical to break through the golden ratio zone on the first attempt, but we did. We went all the way down to the 886. In these non-typical moments, it is typical to go from the 886 all the way back up to your 0.5 and 382 area, somewhere up here. And then maybe you go down lower or maybe you go up, right? But in moments like this where you do break through the golden ratio in one fell swoop, especially on a time frame like this, you get some immense volatility. That's effectively what it is. Anytime you break through the golden ratio on the first attempt, you typically expect immense volatility. If we hit the 786, we would expect, and we found support there, we'd expect probably to go up to the 236 and maybe even a little bit above there. We hit the 886, so it's the next level down, 382.5 level. If you can't get above the 0.5, and we instead reject there and then come back below the golden ratio, that's a problem. Okay, there's a few different paths that we can take from this point, and the most problematic one would be any scenario where we close above the golden ratio, we reject the 0.5, and then we come back down and close below the golden ratio. The most bearish, I suppose, would have been if we found resistance to the golden ratio and closed below it, rejected it. That would be the most bearish, but I think we're past that. Coming down here and then immediately, as we have, coming back up to close above the golden ratio like this is actually a really good sign. It really typically is. Again, it doesn't mean that we're just off to the races from here. It could. You know, it could be that we find resistance somewhere up here and then we come back down. That's still a possibility. What we need to see from here, because again, Bitcoin Cash, what got me on this train of thought, is that now, looking at the 4 hour, we're in a state of kind of configuration. big drop, big shakeout. Look at how big that drop was. Look at how absolutely pathetic the volume was, right? I mean, look at how much volume. It's like, what? You expect me to take this move seriously when the most amount of this cluster of volume came in on a day that half the candle was a wick? I'm not taking this seriously at all. I'm seriously taking it as an opportunity to buy more Bitcoin Cash or other cryptos, but I'm not fazed by this in any kind of way at all. Not at least until we get up here, find resistance, and then close back below the golden ratio. If we do close below $526 after closing above it, that's a problem. And I'm being very specific. You have to be very, very like Poindexter specific. Like, actually, technically, it's this. It has to be that way. Okay? Hear what I'm saying. Today, 7 hours, 10 minutes left. If we come down and we close below 526, that's not a problem. Because technically, we haven't closed above it yet. So we are above it, but we haven't closed above it yet. So technically, it's not a problem today to close below there. But if today or any day we close above it, whatever subsequent day after that does close below the golden ratio, that becomes a problem. Does that make sense? I know what I'm saying. I'm saying it flawlessly. It makes 100% sense to me. I don't know how much sense it makes to you, so I'm going to say it one more time. Closing above the golden ratio today is a good thing. Closing below the golden ratio today is not a bad thing. Okay? Closing below the golden ratio only becomes bad now in the situation we're in now if, first, we find resistance at the 0.5, or second, and more probable at this point, we close above the golden ratio, and then on a later day we close below it. That's when it's a problem. So right now I don't have a problem with it. Right now the expectation, and I haven't looked at the 4 hour, we haven't even looked at the indicators on the daily completely yet, but from here I would expect that we do move up to this range. Anything above the 382 is great. Going from the 886 to the 236, anything above the 382, that's great. That's typically very bullish. So closing above 526 and 24 cents is good. It's a good first step. Closing back below there after closing above it would be a problem. Okay? But closing above the 382 I think would be really good, and ultimately closing above the 236 is the vindicating level that this is the low. So we're looking for a close above 620 eventually. It's probably not going to happen today. Probably doesn't happen next week. It's probably going to happen at best sometime by the end of February. Okay? Maybe earlier. We'll see. But the first thing that really gets me excited that this low is in, it's very vindicated at 620, but I think if we can close a close, not get above, but to close a day, very specific with the wording here, okay? If we close a day above $583, to me, that's the validation I need to say that this is the low. I'm confident that we have found a low, but right now, that's not the call, right? The call is not necessarily that we found the low. I can make that call. I will make that call. Sure, we're at the low. Let's go for that call. But statistically speaking, right now, the call, what we should be looking at is we're just looking at how we interact. We're configuring. Again, configuration right now. Do we find resistance here? Do we find support here? Do we come up here? If so, good. Do we find resistance here? Do we find support here? Do we get a lower high and come back down and then break below? If so, bad. Do we find resistance here? Do we close below here? Bad. Do we find resistance here and then close below here? Bad. You know, like there's goods and bads that we could come out of this, and right now I think the best thing to see would be just first and foremost to close a day above 583. We close any day above 583, and that's a good sign. Okay, and I mean it could happen tomorrow. It could happen today. We got 7 hours left. It could happen like that. It might take 3 weeks. I don't know. I don't know. We're configuring right now. Let's look at the short-term stuff, and then we'll zoom out. Okay, 4 hour time frame here. Again, the RSI, it is in a bullish posturing right now, but overall bearish. Stochastics look good here. The MACD is overall bearish as well. No bullish divergence, but kind of, I mean, it's like a double bottom in the histogram with a lower low. It's not bullish divergence, but I don't mind it. We need a cross above the zero. So this typically, let's compare, and I might be shooting myself in the foot here, but let's compare this with this, okay? And what we did here, right? Here, you were probably not with the price erupting. You were configuring. Unfortunately, the configuration was bearish, inevitably. But let's just compare this with this. Like a point at which your MACD came down, crossed below the zero, and then it started to reverse and come back up. Okay, right there. Right here, you were configuring. You were consolidating, right? Consolidating. And then you made your move, but to the downside. Here, where we are now, we're likely going to be building up like this, and we will be configuring. We will be consolidating. We'll be doing, maybe it's just as boring as it was back here, but so far it doesn't look like it'll be. It looks like it's a little bit more volatile. And then once we get closer to this point where we reject the zero and we come down, or we break through the zero, we'll be at a point where we can expect to break out one way or the other. I'm thinking it'll be to the upside. So right now, being that it's Monday and we've just dealt with this calamitous drop across the board, I would assume we probably consolidate, configure for about a week. Okay? Maybe 2, and then we move up. I am, unlike the last drop that we had for Bitcoin and for the rest of the market in November, here I was expecting that we'd move sideways for months. Okay? Now I'm kind of expecting a quicker recovery. I don't think it's going to be months of sideways. I think we're going to recover quickly, but we'll see. Time will tell. If it is months of consolidation, that's boring, that's sad, but okay, we'll come to that conclusion if we have a hard time getting above the 382. If we can't get above this 382, we start to come on. I didn't think it was this far back. If we can't get above this 382, maybe we get above it, but we don't close above it. We have a hard time there. Maybe we are consolidating for a little bit of time. Maybe it does take some time, and then we can break out, in April or May or something like that. Probably not May because I'm leaving in May, right? But I can't imagine that we stay in this range for too much longer. But just because I don't imagine that doesn't mean that it can't happen. I'm sorry, my daughter's yelling. I don't know what's going on back there, but if you guys hear that, you probably do hear that. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, $537 right now. I do expect that we will move up from here. I think the very obvious target area is that we move up to this support zone, $570. We will likely find some turbulence there, resistance there. If we don't stop there, we'll continue moving higher up to this $600 level and find some turbulence here, but something in this zone, I would expect to find resistance, probably at the prior support. We come down, we test for a higher low, perhaps at prior areas of support and resistance back here as well, prior support back here, somewhere around the low $500, $520, $500, something in there, and then we move up. I would expect that this is kind of the next week or two's worth of price action, maybe even 3 weeks, and then toward the end of February, things should be picking up a little bit, if not March, but we'll see. I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Absolutely, undoubtedly, undyingly, my faith is 100% with Bitcoin Cash. I very, very much believe that we're going to see this break out to the upside. And when we break out, again, the comparison I'm using is Zcash, but that might be insulting to the Bitcoin Cash people. It might be its own thing. Maybe it shouldn't even be compared to Zcash. It's going to be its own thing. I don't know, man. It's going to be phenomenal. This move will likely take us up to prices that are worth $3,400, $4,300, $2,700, somewhere in this zone. At best, at the absolute best, maybe we go all the way up to about $6,000. I mean, it could be more than that. I don't know, man. If Bitcoin Cash, if there's a whole craze in the world, Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin, people really start talking about it the same way that Zcash was, institutions are buying in mass, maybe we do rip all the way up to 10K. Maybe we do pull a move like that. But I'm thinking more so we probably stop somewhere between about $3,700 and $6,000, somewhere up here. At the worst, the absolute worst, I would expect that we at least interact with this zone here, but we're waiting on this fantastic breakout. It should come to full maturity by the end of this quarter. That's the expectation. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to go help out with the kids because they sound like they're giving her hell. All right, take care. Bye.